In this video, we're gonna go over exactly how my client Kyran went from this to this in just 12 weeks. Dropping body fat, gaining muscle, and getting shredded at the same time. The perfect body recomposition. So in this video, I'm gonna take you through step by step, each stage of his journey and covering everything from his training, his nutrition, and all of the changes that we made across the way to land this result. So stay tuned. So let's start off with Kyran's start point. He came to me weighing in at 68 kilogram and roughly around 13% body fat, maybe 14%. And in this position, he hadn't trained for a while. He'd actually recently come back from traveling and just couldn't get himself back into the routine when it came to his training and to his diet. Now, Kyran's longer term goal was to actually build more muscle. But if you've seen any of my other videos across the channel, when it comes to building muscle, when it comes to getting lean, what you'll know is that I'll always recommend getting leaner first before going into a lean gaining phase, so that you can have more longevity to the phase, and of course off the back of that spend more time in a surplus, and off the back of that build more muscle. So that's exactly what we did when we went through this initial 12-week recomposition phase. So Kyran's starting point, and let's start with nutrition first. We started with 2,250 calories on a training day and 2,000 calories on a non-training day. And this was with the macro setup of 182 gram of protein, 264 gram of carb, 49 gram of fat, and 192 gram of protein, 179 gram of carb, and 56 gram of fat on a non-training day. Now, as you'll know, what I'll always recommend is anywhere between 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight, and your fats make up between 20 to 25% of your daily intake, and then your carbohydrates will take up the rest. Now, of course, for yourself, you can use a calorie calculator to figure these out. But initially here, what we wanted to do was get Kyran into a slight deficit so that off the back of that, we could see some initial results. And over the time frame of the first couple of weeks, we could start to see these changes, start to build his adherence to the plan from a nutrition standpoint and from a training standpoint, and start to get everything locked in. Now, from a training and expenditure standpoint, we started him on a 5-day per week split. This is because he had previous training experience and we knew that we were able to get ourselves back into it. Push, pull, legs, rest, push and arms, and then posterior and back, rest. And then we rinsed and repeated that. From a cardio standpoint, we simply started on 2 lots of 30 minutes of list cardio each week and 10,000 steps daily. So the goal across the first couple of weeks was to essentially re-establish Kyran's routine. Get back the habits that he once had when it came to his training and his nutrition, get him tracking his training again, get him tracking his nutrition again, so that we could then gather some data, start to build some momentum, and focus on high levels of adherence, allowing us then to strip body fat. So as you all know, Kyran went from 68 kilogram to 61 kilograms. So here's the timeline of exactly how we did it. Across week 1, we made no changes at all. And then when week 2 came around, we made an initial expenditure change so that we could keep his food as high as possible for as long as possible. And we simply changed from 2 cardio sessions per week to 4 cardio sessions per week and kept that at 30 minutes each. From there, we made no changes up until week 4, where we changed his calories from 2250 to 2125 on a training day, and where we changed them from 2000 to 1900 on a non-training day. And then in week 5, we added an additional cardio session to make that 5 times 30 minutes each week. From there, we didn't make any changes again until week 8, where we saw his training day calories go to 2050 and his non-training day calories go to 1800. And then in week 9, we really started to up the intensity and push to 45 minutes of cardio 5 times per week. And then in week 11, for the final 2 weeks, to really push it and pull off as much body fat as we could in the time frame, we changed his training day calories to 1850 and his non-training day calories down to 1650. And then what we actually did on the final week to land his transformation photos was actually run a few higher carbohydrate days and remove a couple of days worth of cardio to just remove any stress off of the body, shift some of the fatigue, and help him bring in a full, tight look for his transformation photos. Now, as you all know, we only really make changes when we see either a plateau in terms of our scale weight or, of course, want to speed up our rate of loss. And as you will see here, typically I would always drive from an expenditure standpoint first to keep his food as high as possible for as long as possible so that we continue to keep his training performance in a fantastic spot. So as you will see, he finished this recomposition phase with his calories at 1850 and 1650 and 45 minutes worth of cardio 5 times per week and 10,000 steps. That's where we finished up. And this is before week 13, where we started to initiate a reverse dieting phase, which typically I would do across 3 to 4 weeks. And we saw his calories increase from 1850 to 2250 on a training day. We saw his calories on a non-training day increase from 1650 up to 2000, and seen his cardio drop from 45 minutes 5 times per week to 30 minutes 5 times per week. Now, from a nutrition standpoint, what did his diet consist of? Well, as always, it follows a fairly straightforward 80-20 split. High protein, single ingredient foods will always typically win and will always typically be best for your digestion and of course helping manage your appetite, especially when you're on lower amounts of food. And then from a training standpoint, as you all know, Kyran trained 5 times per week following a push, pull, legs, rest, push and arms, posterior and back, rest. And we repeated that week by week. The main goal throughout the phase was to apply progressive overload for as long as we possibly could, focusing on him getting stronger in the gym. And that's why we focused on trying to keep his food as high as possible for as long as possible to positively impact his training performance. The key to either building or maintaining muscle mass whilst you go through a recomposition or a fat loss phase is making sure that your intensity is high. The key fundamentals here for Kyran, because he'd previously trained, was getting his form back in a fantastic spot, was getting his consistency back in a fantastic spot, and like I obviously mentioned there, getting his intensity there and his ability to progress across multiple movements every single week. And of course, when you combine all of his training, his diet, his expenditure, and you combine that with good amounts of sleep, good recovery, focusing on his hydration, everything like that too. Of course, I'm not going into massive amounts of detail here at all, but you combine all of this and that is exactly how we've landed this look. Now, Kyran and I have actually been working together for the last 12 months. And off the back of that initial 12-week recomposition phase, we went through a 4-week reverse diet and have now spent the last 8 months in a surplus, focusing on building as much muscle as possible and limiting fat gain. We've taken it slow and steady, and he now sits in a position 10 kilogram heavier, weighing in at 71 kilogram in comparison to 8 months ago where he weighed 61 kilogram. And as I will always say, if your goal is to build muscle, it always makes sense to get lean first, and then you can have longevity to your gaining phase and make as much progress as possible. But that was the exact process as to how we took Kyran from 68 kilogram to 61 kilogram and got him shredded whilst building muscle simultaneously, nailing his body recomposition phase. I work with hundreds of different lads now, helping them build lean, muscular physiques so they can look and feel their best 24/7. And if you want to achieve similar results, and if you want help working towards your goals, whether it's to drop body fat, whether it's to build more muscle, or whether it's to simply just improve your lifestyle, then click the link in the bio, apply for coaching, and I'll be more than happy to help. But away from that, I hope you were able to take a lot away from this video, where of course I talked through step by step exactly how we landed the transformation with Kyran, and of course how we made the level of progress that we did. So if you enjoyed the video, please drop the video a like, please subscribe for more content like this, and of course if there's any other content that you would like to see, please drop a comment. But apart from that, lads, I'll see you in the next one.